This is the squat walk. Keep your chest up and your shoulders back. Keep your back straight.
I'm going to have you go through a lateral squat walk.
This is the squat walk.
I'm going to have you go through for your legs as comfortable as looking ahead. Okay, big step open, nice and tall, squatted position. I'm going to have you go through a lateral squat walk, getting in enough.
It'll be up to that weight, kick back, squat, kick back, and you can focus on.
I'm going to have you go through a lateral squat walk, getting in a nice squatted position, all four corners of the foot on the ground, big step open.
Hello everyone, in this tutorial we'll take a look how to make a video player. Okay, and check out the link in the description section for the starter code. And if you're following along with me from the previous tutorial, you're good to go. But if you're new to this tutorial, just check out the link below. Okay, and at the same time, if you really want to start from the beginning, from the previous tutorial, you also check out the YouTube link below in this video section. Okay, anyway, let's get started. So in previous tutorial, in this page, videoinfo.dart, okay, we have done this thing, loading this JSON file over here, and then we have saved it in a variable. Once again, the JSON file is over here in our JSON folder. Okay, yes, and if you are starting from right here, if you didn't follow the previous tutorial, make sure that it is in your assets over here, like listed under your assets property in pub spec file, and then you should be good to go. All right, and this is our JSON file, and you can also check out the JSON file from the link below. All right, anyway, so we loaded it using default asset bundle, and after loading it, we tried to check out the value, and as we check out the value, we decoded it, and that's what happened pretty much in previous tutorial. Okay, of course we have called it in our init state method, so it will get initialized before everything is built in this section. Okay, and in this section we have this main body section. Body section has a container is drawing this. Okay, but once again, if you followed from the previous tutorial, you should be good to go. And if you're new in this tutorial, just check out the link below in the video description. Okay, and then we have this linear gradient, and after that we have this column. Okay, this column is basically showing this section and this section. Okay, yes, and so over here, as you see, we have this column inside expanded container. Okay, yeah, so this is our sized box, and the sized box has created this distance, and then we have this row, and this row is showing this few text over here and the basic layout. Okay, anyway, so now we'll go ahead and put another container, another widget, which is called expanded. Okay, and we'll do this because we want to put our video list like this. Okay, as you can see from here. So first we'll put our video file like this, and then we'll be able to click them, and once we click them, we'll be able to play it over here. Okay, yeah, that's what we want to do. And we already loaded the JSON file, so they are already in string format. So all we need to do, we need to go ahead and just call them and display in our simulator or in our app. Okay, yeah, so the first thing here, I want to return something, because as you saw that this would be in a list. Okay, so we'll use ListViewBuilder. Okay, yeah, so let's go ahead and call it. We'll call ListView.builder. Okay, and of course it's a constructor, so we need to supply some parameters. Okay, first we'll supply this context, but it's an empty context, so which we are not going to use. All right, and then we want to supply an index. Okay, so it would be int type, and then we'll return. Okay, so once you want to return, make sure you have this bracket over here. Okay, because we want to return a function. Okay, yeah, so return a function or widget, it's up to you, whatever you return. For now we'll return null. Okay, and at the same time, this ListViewBuilder, it takes few parameters. The first one is, well, I wouldn't say it's the first one. One of them is called item count. So it's more like how many times you want to run this list view loop. So once again, this list view is more like a loop. Okay, it is a constructor, but it's more like a for loop. So if you have basic programming background, you'll know that. And this is the counter limitation, and over here it counts and return the necessary stuff. Okay, now this item count, where is this coming from? Well, this would be coming from up over here. Okay, so remember we loaded the JSON file. Okay, and then we saved in a variable called info. Right, but I want to change the name. I want to call it video info. All right, like this, video info. Okay, so once we load them, we save in a variable called video info. Okay, now let's come down over here. Now everything is in video info, so we can directly get the length. So it's more like an array right now. You can think like this if you don't understand what is list. So now array has a length, so we're gonna use the length. So this item count is same as the length of the number of objects in our video info. Okay, and now item builder will have access to this video info, and we'll access each of them using an index. Okay, all right, now over here we want to return something. Okay, and well, as you see from here, so these are in the list and they would be clickable. Okay, so in future we want to click them. All right, and that's why we want to return something special, a widget or constructor that's clickable. So that is one of them. Is there are many of them, so we'll return gesture detector, because once you wrap things with gesture detector, you can click on that thing or click on that widget or click on that item, whatever it is. Okay, and over here we'll say, for example, there is a function, there is a property called onTap. We'll do onTap. All right, and then we can actually put a log out there and make sure that things are working pretty good. We'll call it index dot, say for example, to string. All right, yeah, anyway, it'll work later, not yet. And another thing it does is over here, well, gesture detector has a child, so we need to return a child over here. Okay, yeah, so let's go ahead and return. So what are you going to return? Now over here we'll return the cards. As you can see that the lists are pretty much like in a beautiful card, so we want to return a card. But now the default card in Flutter, I don't like it. It's not that good looking, so I want to achieve this thing over here. Okay, so that's why we'll build our custom card. Okay, all right, so what we'll do first, we'll return a container. Okay, yes, so now this container, if you see over here that now each of this container will contain this row, okay, including this section. All right, yeah, now this section will have two big parts. So this is the first row and this would be the second row. Okay, all right, and later on each row is divided into two sections. First section, second section. Now this section again is laid out in column format. Okay, now for this one, this row will have two sections. So this is the first section, this is the second section. Okay, well, now what do you want to do? As I said earlier, so each of the container will contain this section. Okay, this section. Now this section has two big parts, this one and this one. So they're on the top of each other, so we'll return them in a column. Okay, so we'll use our column property right now. Okay, so go ahead and do it. So we'll call column. Okay, now column takes children, so we'll return a list of children. Okay, all right, and as it's a container, what we want to do, we want to give it a height. Okay, for example, say I would give it height, say 135. So height, this height. All right, pretty much this height. Okay, all right. Anyway, so now here within the column, say you want to, well, now for our test purpose, we can give it a color. Okay, so say colors dot red or red accent, it doesn't matter. So now what are you going to do? We can run it and make sure that things are working. All right. Well, now if you're following just from this tutorial, what we could do, we can actually come over here in our main file. So for now, I will change it to video info. Okay, video info page. Yes. Well, later on, at the end of this tutorial, we'll jump from home page to video info page. Okay. All right. Now let's save it. Okay. Now we are here. All right. Okay. So, well, of course, definitely nothing is visible over here yet. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Give it a width. Okay. Say with like 200. Okay. Now let's save it. Okay. Well, of course, these lists are pretty close to each other, so it's not visible that they're dividable. They're not like this. But if you click on them, as you can see that you are clicking on certain index. Okay, so it's all there. But now I have done this just because of this test purpose. Okay, test purpose. So it means it's working. All right, because we have total 4 items, as you can see from here. And we are passing the index within on tab, and we are converting it to a string. Okay, and then we are putting the log. So it means that our container is working. Okay, now back to this one. So once again, now it will have two rows, as I said earlier. So now let's go ahead and work on the first row. Okay, all right, and once again we learned that row takes children. All right. Now, so this row would be the first row, and well, it will have two sections, this one and this one. Now the first section is this image. Okay, now this image would be in a container. Well, I'm putting it within a container because I want to have this border, and container takes box decoration, and with that you can create a beautiful border. Okay, and it will have width and height, so give it width 80 and height 80. All right, and later on let's go ahead with the decoration property, so it's called box decoration. All right, and we'll give it border radius, and I'll give it like say 10. All right, so it's pretty much 10, I would say. All right, and then we want to show this image. Okay, all right, so go ahead and write the image property, and we'll use decoration image to do it. Okay, all right, now it is another property within decoration image that's called image property. Remember, this image property within box decoration and this image property within decoration image, and it takes asset image constructor. So Now here we need to supply the image path. Okay, yeah. So now this image path would be coming from our JSON file. Okay, yeah. So JSON file, the one we loaded before. Okay, and do remember that all this information is saved in video info. Okay, now over here, as we are coming down, as you can see, we also have the access to index. Okay, yeah. So now here we'll first access to our video info using the index. All right, now here within JSON file, which of the key we want to get. Now let's see our JSON file. So now we want to show this image, right? And this image is within this key and the value is right next to it. Okay, so all we need to do, we need to copy this thing. All right, okay. So once you copy it and put it over here, so this thumbnail is coming from our JSON file. Okay, yeah. So as you saw earlier, JSON file is over here. Okay, now what you could do, we can go ahead and run it and see what happens. Okay, yes, right. Now of course the first thing, we have this error. Okay, so let's go ahead and fix the error. Instead of embed, I think I have changed the file name. JSON file, it's in over here, sorry, it's in assets folder. So I'll just change the name to assets. I was changed the name early, so just let's copy paste. All right, now let's run it once again. Yes, the error is gone and things are there. All right, yeah. Okay, well, don't worry about this background color now, we'll remove it later. Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, so it means it's working and it's showing up this video. All right, sorry, the thumbnail. Okay, yeah. Now back to our file over here. So it means that our things are our JSON file is working, our list builder over here, it's also working. All right, yeah. And let's make sure, click on this, and I think we'll see different index. Like, so this index should be 2. Yes, this index is 0. Perfect. This is 1 and this is 3. All right, so that's working. Okay, now one more thing before we go ahead. I think we need to fix this issue here. Well, now this should return, this is an async operation, so we need to write a wait before it. And once you do that, you need to add a modifier in front after this function. Okay, yeah, and then we should be good to go. All right. Okay, so make sure things are working fine. Okay, everything has loaded perfectly. Okay, so now back to this thing. So this is the container over here. So this container is showing this thumbnail images, right? The next we want to show this too. All right, but this too should be in a column. All right, before we do the column, let's create a distance. So we'll use sized box, and so with like 10, and with this we'll have this 10 pixel distance, I guess. All right, and now we'll write our column widget. Okay, and it takes children. Okay, now as you can see, the first one is sentence or text, right? So we'll wrap it around text widget. Okay, and now this text once again would be coming from our JSON file. Now we can access our JSON file using this, and we'll go to the corresponding index, and then we'll call this one. Okay, and now what is the key for this? The key is title. Okay, so this is called key and this is called value. Okay, in JSON file. So what is our key? That's called title. Okay, all right, so that's it. And then we want to style it. Okay, yeah, so text style, and say font size would do 18, and we'll also use font weight, so do font weight dot bold. Okay, Now that's it. Let's save it and see what's happening. There is an issue, I guess. Let's see. Let's restore it. Okay, perfect. So our text is there. Once again, don't worry about the red background. We'll remove that later. This is for debugging purpose. So if you want to debug a lot of time, you can use different background color, and that helps you with the debugging. All right, so next we want to show this second text. Now before second text, as you can see here, we have this bit of distance. So we'll create this distance, and once again we'll use sized box, and we'll do height 10, and later on we'll do this text. Okay, all right, now this is pretty much more than 10 pixels, as you can see the distance. Okay, well, I can either increase the distance, or I can use a different widget which has more top padding. Okay, so we'll use a padding widget in this case. It doesn't matter, you can all continue to go ahead with text widget and create this sized box, but because we are learning, so we want to learn a bit of different things, so this time I'll use padding. Now padding text child. Okay, now in our case this is the text. Okay, and we do video info index, and then our this one is the key is a time, as you can see, time. So we'll read that. So we do time, and then we want to create a bit of we want to create style over here. Okay, so what style we want to pose? I think in this case we just change the color. So we do text style. Okay, yeah, and colors, say colors dot gray, and 500. We don't want too much gray. All right, so now there's an error over here. That's because it needs padding. So as you can see from here, so we added it, and now it a bit of padding. So we do edge insets, only top padding, say for example top 3. All right, now once again go ahead, save it and run it, because it's a JSON file, there might be issues if you don't reload things. Okay, now like this. Okay, now it's a bit of ugly right now, so the first thing I want to do is remove this background color. Okay, so this one we don't need, so save it. The color should be gone. Okay, all right. Okay, now it's loaded, and but we want a layout like this. Okay, all right. So how do we achieve this one? At the same time, we don't need this one. All right, now we want to fix this issue, and it's pretty easy to fix. Okay, so now as you can see, this is our column, so it is this 3 sections. Okay, so over here we can set up some of the properties. The first one is called main axis alignment. So in our case, the main axis is this one for this section, for this row. Well, I'm sorry, this is a column, right? So this should be our main axis, so we want to put in the center. Okay, yeah, so we do main axis dot center, and if you save it, well, I'm not sure what's the problem here though. I'll manually load it, not much because they're already in the middle, I guess. And then we'll do cross-axis alignment. Okay, yeah, so cross-axis alignment dot start. So as we do this one, this is our cross-axis. It will start from here, right here. Okay, now let's save it, reload it. Okay, now it's looking much better. All right, yeah. Well, I think I'm not very happy with this border, so let's change the border. So instead of well, I guess it's not the border issue though. There's another property that we can use that comes in box decoration. Okay, so that's called fit property. Okay, so we'll use that one, and box fit, sorry, box fit dot cover. Okay, now let's save it. Once again, I'm not sure what's the problem with my Android Studio. Yeah, now it's looking much better, right? Yeah, so that is really good. And another problem with this is, as you can see, this is too close to this left side, so we want to fix this issue. To do that, we can put a bit of padding in our ListViewBuilder. So we'll put padding over here. Okay, all right, now we'll use edge insets only, or we'll use symmetric this time, not only. Now if you use a symmetric, we'll just use a two property, horizontal and a top. Okay, now horizontal works for both left and right side at the same time. Okay, so we want to use horizontal 30. Okay, let's save it. Once again, I'm not sure what's the problem, we'll fix it later. Anyway, so it's working over here, as you can see. And at the same time, I want to put a vertical distance. Let's put it vertical, say 8. All right, now let's manually restart it. Okay, yeah, so it created a bit of distance at the top. Okay, yeah, well, we can do a bit more. Okay, over here, sized box, say height 20. Okay, now let's restart it. Okay, yes, so it's much better. And this vertical padding actually within the list itself later on. Okay, yeah, so but with this one, this is the fixed top distance. Anyway, now things are looking much better, and you can also click on them and it works, as you can see from the log down there. Okay, perfect. Okay, so next we want to do next we want to do this design. All right, over here, as we said earlier, we talked earlier that we have two big rows, right? So this is the first row, and now we'll work with the second row. Okay, all right, so what we'll do, we'll go ahead and declare another proper row constructor, and within it, as you can see from here, we have this two sections, right? So this would be a container, and this would be, I guess, another container. Okay, yeah. So how to do that? So we'll have children takes child. So first child is a container. Okay, on the container we'll have width and height, so let's define width 80 and height say 20. Okay, yeah. On the decoration, box decoration. Okay, and now we want to give it a bit of color. Okay, for this section, so let's go ahead and define the color. So we do color, we do O X F F E A E E F C. All right, yeah, and then we'll do border radius dot circular, we'll do 10. All right, okay, so we are pretty good. Let's reload our thing and see what's going on. All right, so it's there, right? Now it's really too close, so to make it better, we do sized box once again. Sized box, height say 18 instead of 20. Let's reload it manually. Okay, yes, okay, now it's looking much better. Now container text child, so there is a text over here. Okay, we'll put this text within child property. Okay, yeah, so we'll do child. Okay, and then we'll do text. Okay, and the text is, for now, this text is 15 seconds. So let's go ahead and do it. We'll do 15-second rest. Okay, perfect. And then we'll do style. So we'll do text style. okay, and we do color OXFF 839FED. all right, and I think that's it. So let's run it and see the result. Okay, it's right there. And now let's see if we can put it in the center of this container, and what happens, we can wrap it around center widget. Let's see if it works or not. Let's reload it once again, and done. Okay, so it's in the center. Perfect. Okay, so within center, if you use center widget, you put things in the center of a container. All right, yes. Okay, well, now we'll do this thing, this dotted lines. Okay, now unfortunately in Flutter there is no easy way to do that, so you have to write your own algorithm to do that. Okay, well, now as you see, I'll have a row for this section, just for this. In the row I'll have this dashed line as children, or each of them is a child. Okay, so that's why I want to wrap all of them in a row. Okay, perfect. So let's go ahead and do it. There are some plugins, but I don't want to use plugins, so we want to learn programming, the actual programming. So once you're good at programming, you can create your own plugin. All right, anyway, so now, so as you can see, this dotted line actually consists of this dotted line as well as the white dot. Okay, blue dot and white dot together. So that's what we want to do, and we want to draw them in a loop. Okay, yeah. For example, first say we have this one. Say we have a container. All right, and container width is say 3, and say height is 1, and then we'll do decoration, and we do box decoration. All right, and color OXFF say 839 839FED. all right, and we'll do border radius, say border radius dot circular 2. okay, yeah. Now let's go ahead and save it and run it and see the result. Okay, now as you see here, there's this little dot. Well, it's not really dot because you can't really draw dot over here, but it makes sense, right? Okay, now what do we want to do? We want to run it in a loop. Okay, so that we'll have a lot of these things. All right, yeah. So we can just declare over here a for loop, and we'll run it certain times. Int I equals 0, and I is say less than 70. We'll run it 70 times, and I plus plus. All right. Now let's see what happens over here once you reload it. Yes, but now it's not this dashed line anymore. So what can you do? Well, we can actually put blue line and white line together, or blue dot and white dot together, so it will create the vision of dashed line. Okay, and how to do that? Now we can do it very easily over here. So first one say would be blue, things like that, and second one would be white. So based on this index, we change the color of this container. All right, yeah, that's what we could do. Now how to check the index? So we'll see if I is even. Okay, well, 0 is counted as even. All right, if I is even, then we do this one. Okay, otherwise if I is not even, we just show a container. All right, container. All right, container. If I is even, then we'll fall back to this one. If it's odd, we'll fall back to this one, but this is an empty container right now. Let's go ahead and see what happens. Yes, it's a bit weird, right? Okay, well, it's not working because this container itself doesn't have width and height. Okay, this container. So over here we can do the same thing, like for example this one, okay, and then we can change the color. Okay, we'll do colors dot white. Okay, all right, now let's go and save it and see the result. Perfect, so it's working. Okay, now once again go ahead and click on them. It looks like everything is working. Okay, well, now we can restructure our code, rearrange our code, I would say, to be organized. Let's collapse them like this. Over here it's same, and our column, our row, pretty much like that. Okay, yes, and this one. Okay, now this one, it's pretty long. I don't want to put it there. I want to put it in a separate function. Okay, so let's create a function over here. All right, and we'll call this function, say ListView. Okay, all right, and ListView, let's open it up and let's see. Well, the only thing ListView should take is this index. Okay, so we can pass index. That's what we'll do. So over here, well, we don't need this thing, and we'll have int index, and it's a function. Okay, and this function would return something. What it return? It will return this container. So we'll just cut it, copy paste, and put it over here. All right, and we need to put our semicolon, and now over here we can call ListView. Okay, ListView. All right, and we are passing the index. All right, and this index once again is coming from here, so you're passing the same index to this one. All right, well, let's save it and make sure that everything is fine. Okay, yeah, so there is no error. And at the same time, I also want to change this section over here, that's expanded, restructure part of the code, like this, all of it. Okay, yeah, like this. Okay, well, I think we can rename this one, instead of ListView, I would say build card. Sorry, let's call it build card. Okay, because we're building the card actually, and build card. Okay, yes, now it's fine. And this section over here, okay, we'll move it inside another function, so that our code looks neat and clean. Okay, and this one actually will call ListView. All right, and it'll take index, and it will return this ListViewBuilder. Okay, the one earlier we copied from here, and we'll call it ListView. Okay, yes. Well, now this should, oh yeah, by the way, this shouldn't take any parameter, so it doesn't need any parameter, and we're good now. Yeah, so the error is gone, and it should be working. All right, yes. Okay, now let's kill this app, and let's reload it and see something. All right, and there's another issue that we need to fix. All right, but now as you see, our JSON file, the information we read from JSON file, they're all gone. Why? Well, now that's happening because at the top we have done something which is not complete over here. Well, by the time it's loaded all this information in this variable, the build method has been called, and it's done. I mean, that also means that this is a slow operation. As you can see that we have async and await, so it does take a little bit of time, but our build method doesn't really wait for this method to be finished. So once it is, the build is done, by the time this information is not there yet, so we see it's empty. So we need to retrigger this drawing, okay, drawing of our screen. And how can you do that? we can put it inside a set state function. Okay, now let's save it. Okay, so when you put things on set state function, and if there is new information, it updates the screen. Okay, now let's save it and see. Yeah, this time it's working. Okay, yeah, so we can stop our app and rerun it again, and we'll see that it will work. Yes, as you see on this redrawing, this redrawing is being auto triggered, so it's working. At the same time, if you're following along from the previous tutorial, the same thing should happen here. Okay, so we'll do set state and put it there anyway. So that's it. Now come back to our file video info over here, right? I guess this one, right? Okay, so ListViewBuilder. And now what do you want to do next? We want to click on this video or a list on this. We want to click on them and load the video, load the related video from JSON file, because JSON file has video URL, as you can see. So we need to load them from this video URL, and then we'll display it here. To do that, definitely first we need to hide this section, and then we display the video over here. So that's what we'll do in next section. Well, the first thing we want to do, we want to be able to click on them, and then we'll know that somewhere in the list we have clicked. Okay, so that's what we want to do. All right, to do that, we can put a log over here first. Within this one, actually we already have one. Okay, yeah, now within this, from here you want to redraw, trigger a redraw of our widget. Okay, like we'll be clicking here, and then it will trigger a signal, and based on that signal we'll hide this section over here and play the video. Okay, well, to do that, here we can use a set state function, because we know that set state triggers signal that helps the widget to redraw. Okay, now definitely we need to do something within this. Okay, so first we need to declare a variable. So let's go top, at the top, very top, I would say let's go over here and declare a boolean here. So we'll do bool, and the variable name is play area. I will call it play area, and the default is say false. Okay, yeah, false. All right, great. Now we'll go down at the end. Now over here what we'll do, we'll check if play area equal false, then we'll set it to true. Okay, play area equal true. Okay, now we have to check this condition somewhere, and the place where we check, it will cause a re-render of our widget. Okay, yeah, so now we need to use this one somewhere. Okay, all right, now take a look over here. This is our place from where we are actually drawing everything. This one, I guess this column. Okay, we can collapse it. All right, and the same for this one. All right, okay, and what else? Let's see. And this is the body section, right? Well, we can collapse the decoration section. Now you know that this part is responsible for, this expanded part is responsible for drawing this one, and this area container is responsible for drawing this one. Okay, so this condition play area, we'll check it over here using this variable. We'll check things over here and change things from here. So in default condition, play area is false, right? Yeah, so that's where we'll check. So we'll do iterary operator over here. So we'll check play area equal false. If it's false, yeah, if it's false, then we'll show this container. Okay, otherwise we'll have a different container. Okay, and this container will definitely draw here something different, right? Yes. Okay, Now the first thing we want to do first, well, definitely if it's true, the play area over here, we can do a check right now. We can just say container, say with well, say 300 for now, and sorry, and then we'll do height, say 300. Okay, and then we'll set color, so colors.red. Okay, just do it for fun right now. Okay, so now let's go ahead and restart our app. Okay, all right, yes. So now we'll click over here and hopefully we'll see that container changed. All right, yeah, as you see, so it changed whatever it was there, and it changed the thing with this rectangle or square thing. Okay, so it means that it's working, right? But definitely you see this blue one, actually this is this background color which is coming from our decoration, right? Yes. So now the first thing we want to take care of this background color as well. We don't want this background color when someone triggers over here, right? Yeah. So at the same time here we can set up a condition. All right, so we'll do, well, if play area is false, then whatever the background is there, decoration, we'll use that one. Otherwise we'll use a new background color within box decoration. Okay, yeah, that's what we want to do. So now here we'll do color. Okay, and color dot app color, sorry, color dot app color dot gradient second. This is the color we want to use. And what is this color though? You can take a look over here, this file. So gradient second, I guess this is the color. Okay, you can of course directly use this color if you don't want to use the way I want it, because this is our color file. So over here we can also directly use the color. Anyway, so let's go ahead and save it. All right, okay, now let's take a look. So we'll see that now this is the default background color as well as the information. Once we click on this background color would be gone, it would be replaced with this color as well as with this container. So this play area is helping us to make changes in two places, over here in the container and the background color itself. Let's check it out one more time. All right, so the color changed, right? Perfect. Now of course this is pretty ugly, but this is for debugging purpose, that we know what we're doing, right? Okay, well, now the first thing we want to do is here we want to put a back button at the top. Okay, so that we can go back somehow if we need to, and then we'll have our play area, and then we'll have our control area over here. From here we'll control. So that's what we are going to do now. All right, so for now I'll definitely remove this part. We don't need this one. Okay, all right, so just now I explained that we'll have three sections. The top section for going back, if we need to go back to the previous page somehow later on, and then the play area, and then the control area. So this section will have a column layout format. Okay, so within container we'll declare a column. Of course we need to use the child property to do that. So because we have three sections, they will sit on the top of each other, so we'll use column section column widget or constructor. Okay, now first we want to draw things over here, a back button and other things like some icons. Okay, now we'll do that in a container. Okay, all right, now container will say we'll have height. Okay, we'll give it height 100. Okay, and it will have say, then I will have child here, right? Okay, all right, and child will use row over here. Why? Because this section within this container will have a back button, then empty space, and then another icon here. So we'll have two icons, one empty space. So within this container we can put things in a row. All right, okay, so that's what we want to do. All right, and now the back button would be able to click on it, right? So we need to wrap it around something clickable. In this case, we'll use Inkwell. All right, okay. Now Inkwell has on-tap property. That's what we would be using. And Inkwell itself takes a child. Okay. Now in this child, we'll use icon. Okay. Yeah. So icons dot arrow back iOS. I guess that's what we want to use. All right. And then we'll use say size. Use size, and let's use color. All right. So we'll use color from our color palette, up color, and then we'll use second page icon color. All right, so that's what we want to use. Now let's save it, and let's see if we see something, right? Yes. Okay, so this is our icon. All right, and this color is once again coming from over here. Let's see, second page icon color, I guess this one. Second page top icon color, this one. All right. Okay, anyway, let's go ahead. Now there's a problem though, like this too close to this top section. So here what you could do, we can set up some padding. Okay, right? Okay, so let's do it. We do const edge insets. I would do top, say let's go to 50 and see the result. All right, so I guess we are happy. Top 50 and say left 30. Okay, and right 30. Right. Let's save it. Perfect. Now it's aligned with this line over here. Perfect. Things are working, and of course you can click on this button, but if we want to click on this, we can actually put a log out here so that we know what's happening. So we could do debug print, and it would say tapped. All right, now let's save it, and let's try to tap on it. Yeah, tapped, as you can see from here. So it's being tapped. That's fine. And another thing we want to do over here, what do we do? We'll use another icon over here. I think that's information icon. All right, so let's go ahead and do it. So I'll do icons dot say info, let's see, info outline, this one. Okay, and the size is 20, and the color dot app color dot second page top icon color. Within second page, I'm sorry, top icon color. Now let's save it and see the result. Okay, sorry, I changed the color though. Now they're too close to each other, so what do we want to do? We want to create the maximum distance between them. So that's why now we can use expanded widget. Okay, and we'll use empty container. All right, perfect. So now it's working. Okay, so let's reload it one more time from the beginning. All right, now here we are. Let's tap on this one. So the index is 1. So this is the index. Background color changed, and the icon showed up, and tapping is also working. Okay, well now that's this section is done, but now what do we want to do? We want to play the video, the actual video, and that's what we've been working for. Okay, yeah, so we want to play the video. Well, now if we want to play the video, definitely within this column, and here we can define an area for playing. Okay, and we'll define a function here. We'll call it play view. Okay, that's what we'll call it, play view. And let's see, and we can, I guess we can pass a context over here. It might be useful. Okay, and let's collapse it. This is the build card. Now let's define this function here. We'll call it play view. Okay, and it will take a parameter. We'll call it build context. All right, yeah, like this. And well, this is for playing, so we'll be playing a video over here. But before we want to play a video, at the same time we also need to initialize the video. Okay, do remember them videos links are coming from here. Okay, we can get the link from here, from this list, from here. If you take a closer look, let's see the list over here, this one actually, list view. And the list view is once again this function over here, and here as you see we have this index. So as we have the index, then we can retrieve the video URL from our JSON file. So we have the video URL here. Okay, yeah. So now over here we want to use this index and initialize our video. Okay, so now we'll declare a simple method here. Okay, we'll call it, say, on tap video, and we pass the index. All right, yeah. Well, this play view for now is empty, but we will use it later. Okay, let's see, it's throwing an error on tap. Okay, so we need to define this function, so we'll define it right up there. Okay, so we'll call it on tap video, and it takes index type is int. All right, now the error should be gone. So here I have this index. Okay, and now we'll use this index to get the video. Now to get the video we need to use a plugin. Okay, so we'll go ahead and install the plugin over here in our pub specs file. Say just right here we'd use video player, this one. Let's get it one more time. Well, hopefully it installed because there is no error, right? Okay, now it installed and we'd be able to use it. Let's come back to this place over here. Okay, well, now we need to initialize our video using video controller. Okay, and this videos are coming from network, so JSON file has this network link, so it means they're coming from network, right? Okay, now let's go ahead and initialize it. We'll declare a variable and we'll call it controller, and now over here we'll use video player controller like this one. So as you can see, Android Studio has recognized it, so we'll use the network because we've been using URL. We'll be using URL. Okay, now it's asking you to get the data source. Now do remember that earlier we were able to access this video info list, and now we have the access to index. So this index is coming from here, and then we'll use the video URL key, video URL. And now do remember that this video URL is, this is the key. Okay, so we have a few videos over here, so this is the key. All right, okay, and I guess I need to put a comma over here. Okay, perfect. Okay, now with this we are going to initialize the controller, video controller, with the data. Okay, well, now this variable is local variable, so you also want to use declare a global variable. Let me collapse it, it's too much information here right now. Yeah, okay, perfect. So let's go ahead and declare a global variable. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll declare video player controller, and we'll call the variable controller. Okay, just like this. Okay, and let's see, a light modifier, and it should work. Okay, so now what do you want to do? You want to save it to the global variable, the local variable. Our local variable is controller, this one. Okay, now this is our global variable. Okay, all right. And after that, once controller is done, we can call set state function, but this would be empty set state, but hopefully it will help us to re-trigger some of the drawing. Okay, and then once again we will use this controller, and then we'll access a method which is called initialize, okay, from this one. Okay, all right, let's call this controller. Okay, all right, now it is a cascade operator, this one. It saves you typing, and we'll access the method which is called initialize. Okay, and during the initialization, okay, I guess this will initialize things. During the initialization, we'll call another function which is called then. Okay, well, now then can take a value, but for now we'll not pass any value. We'll keep it empty. To keep it empty, you can use underscore. Okay, and then you can use this second braces. All right, yeah. Okay, now within this we'll initialize things. Okay, all right, so definitely we can do this one, controller dot play. All right, yeah, but we want to use it just for local variable for now. We'll use it the global variable a little later. So this is one we can do. Okay, once the initialization has been done, then we'll play the video. Okay, so that's what we want to do. And at the same time, let's see, we will set state to make sure that redraw happens even though it's empty. All right, so that's what we have. So we have onTap function. Within onTap function, we have this video URL. Okay, and then we save it to the global controller, and we'll use it later, don't worry. And then we initialize and try to play. Okay, so that's what we want to do. And now we can go ahead, find a place to play it. Okay, now where to play this thing? Now, earlier we took a look over here, and within this, let's see, within this over here, actually, this one, container play area false over here. So we have this play view function. Okay, and play view should be able to play things. Okay, so where is our play view? Play view is over here. Okay, so now here we'll first declare a variable equal, do you remember we have global controller variable, so which is this one. All right, so we got the global controller and we save it to this one, which is local variable. And then over here we'll check something. So what do we check? We'll check if controller not equal null, at the same time controller value dot is initialized. So video player plugin and video player has this value, so don't worry, you can just, all you need to know them, what they are and what they don't do. Okay, so over here we are checking this variable which is global controller. We make sure that it's not null, and at the same time the value has been initialized, and if it's so, then we'll return something. Okay, otherwise we'll return something different. Okay, else we'll return something different. So what happens if video controller exists and the value has been initialized? Okay, then we'll return something. What do you return? We want to return a video player. Okay, that's what we want to do. And in general you do it controller, container and child. What you do here, you'd call video player. Yeah, video player. And then you pass the controller variable, which is the global controller. Do remember this one, local variable contains this global variable. Okay, yeah, so you have to pass it. At the same time you can define height and width, say height 300 and say width 300. Okay, otherwise, so if they are not initialized or it is still empty, in that case we'll show something different. What do we show? We'll show a text. Okay, for now we'll say being initialized, please wait. That's all we want to do for now. Okay, yeah, that's what we want to do, and we want to return this one actually. Okay, Well, we are returning from here, so we need to return the type. So what's the type we are returning? We are returning widget type, okay? Because container is a widget, text is a widget. So we are returning widget type. So now what we'll do, we'll play here, tap on the play button, run button, and let's see what happens. Now everything has been reloaded. Now let's click on this and see what happens, okay? Well, now it says being initialized please, which means that it's right over here. Hold on. Yeah. Oh, sorry, this one. Okay, but it looks like it's taking a lot of time. Okay, now we'll see. If you wait a few moments, you'll get an error. Okay, most probably it will give you a platform specific error if you are running on iOS, and at the same time there should be an error if you're running on Android. Okay, but anyway, it's not playing. All right, so if you come to their official website, this is the video player, their official website. Okay, well, now over here for installation, we also have some of the settings that we need to take care. For iOS, you need to come to this folder, info plist, and over here you need to add this section. Okay, so we'll just copy paste this. By the way, if you're running on Android device, so you have to set certain thing in Android manifest.xml file. This one, just copy paste and it should be good to go. So let's go ahead and change our settings over here, project settings, like this one. Okay, now over here we copied the thing, so we'll copy paste here and save it, and after that we'll rerun our application. Okay, yeah, and it might take a bit of time to get initialized, as you see, as it's working over here, but hopefully it will be done very soon. And at the same time, come back to this place and let's see, and we'll click on here, and as you see, it started, and that's what we wanted.
Up and your shoulders back.
But now this part is a bit weird, right? The frame, I'll stop it for now. Okay, or it stopped automatically because the video played finished, right? But now we want to change this thing. It doesn't look really good. To change this thing here, actually, instead of using container, we can use aspect ratio. Okay, so we'll just write aspect ratio. Okay, and aspect ratio doesn't take width and height. What it does, it has a parameter which is called aspect ratio, and we do 16:9. Well, this is the best aspect ratio for any device from my understanding. Okay, yeah, and at the same time we also want to wrap it around aspect ratio, otherwise when it plays and when we wait for this text, when you see the text at the top, it doesn't really look good, it's too small. So while we wait the video to be loaded, we want this text background should be as big as the video's aspect ratio. Okay, so we can wrap it around aspect ratio widget. So we'll just write here aspect ratio. Okay, and once again we'll set the aspect ratio over here. So ratio 16:9. So what it does, based on your device screen, device width and height, it takes the frame width and height and set for your video controller or your text. Okay, and it looks great. And actually I also want to wrap this around within center widget, so everything would be put in the center. And instead of writing this one, I would write preparing. It means the video is being loaded, and over here we can do a bit of text style. Okay, so we'll do style, text style, font size 20, and then color, we'll use colors.white for now, white 60. All right, okay, now let's stop it and run it once again, and we'll see what happens here. Okay, so hopefully this would work and everything would look much better. Okay, perfect, things loaded. Now let's click on this. This looks beautiful,
this
right?
This is the squat walk.
And now this is,
your chest up and your shoulders
much
back.
Better. Okay,
keep your back straight, keep your butt low.
Okay, now let's click on other one. Yeah,
I'm gonna have you go through
so
a
it
lateral
means our
squat
videos
walk,
are
beginning in
working,
a
being
nice
loaded
squatted
perfectly.
position,
Okay,
all
yeah,
four corners of the
but
foot on the
I'll
ground.
stop it
Big
now.
step opening the gate and then close the gate. Big step
Okay,
open.
so next we want to actually have for example, hold on, let it load. What do we want? We want to have a controller over here.
This is the
Okay,
squat walk.
so that we can control it,
Keep
stop
your chest
it,
up and your shoulders
and
back.
go to the next video.
Keep your back
once we
straight.
click on the
Keep your
left
butt
and
low.
right button, and also work on the sound thing. Okay, so I want to put a controller over here so that we can control. Well, before we go ahead and do that, I need to tell you that I have made some other changes if you want to know. Well, the first thing, I made a change over here, this video controller. Instead of writing here late, L-A-T-E, okay, I did this null checker, so it checks if it's null or not, but it could be null, so that's why we have this one. Okay, so you should change it to this one, but of course it also depends on your SDK version. So my SDK version is this one. So depending on your environment setting, this settings or this kind of question mark could be different. Okay, so for me, for this kind of, in this environment, I have to have this one, otherwise it will throw an error. Okay, as you see, of course you can go ahead to write late, but it creates problem later, so I have decided to go with this question mark. Okay, well, of course some of the older version you even don't need this question mark, just this one works. So just check it out or leave a question below in the comment section. I'll try to answer your question. Okay, so that's one thing about video controller. And the second thing, your JSON file. So over here it's better you have HTTPS and it works fine. Without HTTPS, it also works with HTTP, but in that case you need to make changes over here. Okay, all right. And another thing is that I found after hours of debugging, if you have space between your in your video name initially, which I had, and it just doesn't work. So if you have space, please remove the space in your video, because you might have your own video, so you have to remove the videos, otherwise they won't work. Okay, so these are the few things you have to remember. And another thing, if your videos, even after everything, they don't work, you might want to restart your whole machine, your computer, and they might work. Okay, so this is a few annoying things working with video or video controller, but these are the problems that I have faced, and I decided to share with you guys. Okay, anyway, now we'll go ahead and set up this controller over here. Okay, well, to make a control button over here, we need to come to our layout, main layout, which is over here. Okay, and here we'll declare a function. We'll say control view. Okay, and we'll pass a context if we want to use it in future. It doesn't matter for now. And over here we'll make it. Okay, well, so we'll declare over here control view, define the function control view, and it will take context, build context, because we are passing the context. All right, from here. Okay, all right, now we think we want to return widget. Well, even if we don't return widget, I think it should work. So let's go ahead. Okay, yes, I think we have to, because it's a different function. We have to write here return function anyway. So we'll use widget, we'll return widget, and now here return. Okay, we need to write return statement, and here we'll have a row because we want to put everything in a row. Okay, like that. Okay, now row will have children. All right. Okay, now the first one we want to do is we want to create few flat buttons over here. Okay, so do flat button. Okay, yes, definitely flat button has its own properties, few properties that we need to use. Okay, well, definitely we have this unpressed button. Okay, and child, we have child icon. So do icons dot fast rewind. I think that's what we would do. First rewind. Okay, this would be our left button. Okay, yeah, and definitely we can set up size here. So do size 36, and colors dot say white, this one, okay. And this would be definitely an async operation, async, okay, but for now we'll just keep it there, we are not going to use it. So this is the first button, okay, and we'll have 3 buttons, okay. So this is the other button, and over here I think we need a comma. All right, so over here we'll have a button for like say for playing and pausing and playing like that, okay. So here first the icon, let's change the icon name, play arrow, we'll do play arrow. I guess for now this is good, the color stays the same, and let's copy it one more time and put it here. By the way, it's being cranky because we have a return statement, so we need to use semicolon. All right, yeah. And over here, this is the last one. We'd use fast forward, this one, and everything else stays the same. So we have 3 buttons. So this is for playing the one on the left, or the earlier one. This is for pausing and replaying, and this is for going to the next one. So first we'll work on this one more. Now once we click on this, we want to be able to stop it, right? Stop playing. That's what we want to do. And to do that, we need to declare a new variable, otherwise we won't be able to stop and play like that, okay. So let's go ahead and declare the variable. We'll declare a Boolean variable at the top over here, okay, and we'll do bool is playing, okay. Well, is playing equal say false, at the beginning is not playing, okay. Now let's come back to our function, I guess, which one, sorry, I think we are here, all right. Okay, so over here, so somehow we'll check if is playing, okay. Well, if it's is playing true, then we will pause it, okay. Now we have the access to the global controller, remember, okay, and we'll do pause, all right, P-A-U-S-E, pause, all right, okay. But it wants you to do the null check operator, so we'll just use this question mark, but depending on your version you might need to do this one, but in my version this might throw error, which I've already tested, so I'm going with the question mark, okay. So if it's playing, then we'll pause it, okay. Otherwise, okay, otherwise we'll play it. So we'll do controller dot play, okay, this one, all right. Now the same thing over here, so yeah, that's it. But now we initialized it as false, right? So definitely it wouldn't work. So we need to find a place where we can set it to play when it plays, right? Because right now once we click on this, it automatically plays. So we need to set up a listener, okay, and when it plays we will have a listener, and in that listener we will set it as playing as a true, okay, and at that moment it is playing, and we can click on this button and pause it, okay. Again, once again, because once we click on this links, they play it automatically, so the place where it plays automatically, from there we need to set it as a true, okay. Now this happens in our initialization. We have a function which is called initialize video, this one, okay, yeah. So it's coming from on tap video, okay. So over here we can add a listener, okay, yeah. So let's go ahead and do it. We'll just call controller, this one, dot add listener, okay, yeah. So over here we'll declare a new function. We'll call on controller update, okay, controller update. Okay, now definitely we need to define this function, so let's go ahead and define it over here. Yeah, and this would be a void function which returns nothing on controller update, and this would be an async operation which is not regular operation, so we might stop I mean the loading resources, this and that could be late, so that's why you tag it as async, so the system understands and it doesn't crash, okay, or doesn't return null all the time. So over here, okay, and over here we want to update our thing. Okay, all right, so if the video player is there, first definitely we'll check some of the chattings or settings actually. Okay, yeah, so first we'll declare a variable, we'll call it controller, and we get the global controller. Okay, yeah, so now global controller is saved over here. Now we can check on this one, so we'll check if controller, this one, is null, then would debug print controller is null. Okay, and would return. All right, return. Okay, that's the first check. Okay, yeah, because it's listening, because the listener is attached to this controller and it would be listening all the time, and if somewhere somehow the controller is null, will return, okay, and log a message on the screen. And at the same time over here we'll check another thing, if controller dot value dot initialized is initialized. So this is to check if the controller has been at the end initialized or not. If it's not initialized, we'll fall back here and we'll debug print message controller cannot be initialized. Okay, and then we'll return once again. Okay, so if this two condition passes, it means that controller is there, right? Okay, so right now if the controller is there, we can get a value. Okay, so we'd call it playing value. I mean, we'll save it in a variable called playing, and we'll get it from controller. Okay, and controller has a property called value, and value has a property called is playing. Okay, this one. So after this, controller should be playing. Okay, and if it's playing, the value is saved there, and then we can save it our global variable, which is called is playing. Okay, all right, so this is happening. First we are checking the controller, that whether it's still there and it's not null. Okay, it cannot be null, and the value has to be initialized, and if it's done, then we update our variable. Okay, and once we do that, now we can work on our buttons over here, like let's see, our flat buttons. Okay, now here it would be true as it's playing the video, right? And then we'll be able to play it. Okay, well, if it's playing, then we'll pause it. If it's not playing, then we'll play it like that. Okay, of course it also means that you need to change your condition. Okay, okay, now if it's playing, we need to check it over here. Is playing is true. If it's true, the value is true, then we'll show this icon, icons.pause. Okay, so if it's already playing, the button should be pause button. If it's not playing, then it's a play arrow button. Okay, so that's what we have so far. Okay, now here another thing is that this row could be ugly, right? Because we didn't have any style, so we want to style it. So what we could do, we could wrap it around a widget, which is container widget. Okay, and we can give it a height. Okay, say height 120, and we'll have width. Say for width, we'll get it from media query context dot size dot width. Okay, and at the same time we also want to give it a background color. Okay, So we'll use it from our color palette. Color gradient second, that's my favorite color. All right, okay, now hopefully everything should work fine. So we'll restart our app and we'll see what happens there. Okay, so it's reloaded. So now let's click on this. Here we go.
This is the squat walk.
So it's working, right?
Your chest up and your shoulders
Let
back.
me turn off the audio. Okay, so it's working and our button is there and we can pause it, as you see. All right, okay, but looks like we paused it. The button, the icon didn't change. Let's see. So that's because over here we also need to set, if we set it to pause, then we need to set it to false. Is playing. Okay, so this one over here we need to set it to false. Okay, yeah. And how do you do that? I think we can do it using set state function. Okay, so that it triggers the redraw of our screen. So what we do is playing false. Okay, all right, so let's reload it one more time and see. Okay, yes, it's working. The sound is there but very little. Okay, and I can stop it. The icon changed. I can play it one more time. Now this icon didn't change again, right? So I think we need to do the same over here, but the opposite. Okay, so we'll set is playing equal true. Okay, now let's go ahead, run it and see the result.
This is the squat.
Okay, it stopped.
Walk.
It plays.
Your chest up and your shoulders back.
And we can stop it. We can play it.
Back straight.
Perfect. So this is the time actually we're working for whole time. Okay, but there are far more things we can do. First, let me center it. Okay, so how to center that, because it's a row. So this is our main axis alignment. So we'll do center, main axis alignment, main axis alignment dot center. Let's save it. It should be center, right? Okay, perfect. All right, so now everything is working fine, the audio and this and that. Okay, I think we can also replay another one. Okay, and then we can pause it, right? Okay, so there are many more things that we need to do, but we'll be doing all of them one by one. Okay, next we'll see if we change the video, one of the videos, we need to dispose the earlier video and how to do that. Okay, to dispose our video, once another video is clicked, like for example if you're playing this one and once you click on this one, this should be disposed, right? Or this should be freed up from the memory. Okay, to do that we can go at the top and over here, okay, right below this init method, we can override another method. Okay, and that is the disposed method. Okay, dispose. All right, and this method has another method that is super method that we need to implement, super dot dispose. Fine. And so this is get called right after local resources are being removed. Okay, now local resources we need to remove manually. Okay, all right, and to do this we also need to declare another variable. We'll call it disposed equal false. Okay, all right, now over here we'll declare or assign disposed equal true, but of course this variable we are not using yet. Soon we'll be using in other places and we'll see how it works. Okay, so this would be a boolean variable and we would use it in our listener later on. Anyway, so let's go ahead, and now we have this global controller. So we'll first pause it. Okay, so if you click on the other one, let's go ahead and pause it, or if you leave the page, go ahead and pause it first. You can leave the page by clicking here, and then you can dispose it. Okay, so you only dispose if the controller exists. So this question mark means if it exists, then do something. Do what? We can now dispose. Okay, yeah, and then after that we can set it to null. Okay, so this way it will make sure that controller has been removed, or set it to nullify. Okay, that's done. All right, and now we need to use this one and do other stuff in a couple of other places. So let's go down at the bottom, I guess over here, right? Well, first we need to save our old controller. What is the old controller? Like if you say this is playing and you click on this one, so this becomes the old controller, so which means this is the previous global controller. Okay, so we need to save it. All right, so we'll declare in a final variable, we'll call it old, and we'll save the previous old controller. Okay, so at first, of course, beginning it's null, but once you play the second one, the first one becomes the old controller. So this is our old controller, and we need to save it, and that's what we are doing it here. Okay, and after that we'll also do other check. Now we'll do checking that if old controller is not null. Okay, so if it's not null, we'll remove it. Okay, but before removing or before pausing, so we need to attach a listener, which is called a remove listener, and to it we'll pass a function that we created early. The function is onControllerUpdate. All right, it'll listen to it and remember some of this information, and then what it would do, we'd do old.pause. Okay, so it will pause it. Okay, if it's not removed or if it's not null. But if it's null, of course, it means that our dispose method has already worked. Okay, yeah. And then during when we go to initialize our next video, so next time when we initialize the video, we'll again check once again if the old one exists, then dispose it. Okay, because video might not be removed immediately, it might take times based on the system. Lower level how it works, we don't know, but these are the steps that make sure that video will remove or disposed eventually. All right, so here we'll check if the old one, which is this one, is not null, then we pause it. Okay, and then if we are going to really initialize the next video, so dispose the earlier one. So using this function call, we can dispose the earlier one. But now over here, okay, so we can use another option which we just used early, like the disposed variable. Okay, so if well, during the listening, because this listener, which is on update controller, it might get called again and again and again, even if say the player has been disposed. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll just check over here, if disposed true, then what we'll do, we'll just return, because it was listening but at the same time the controller has been disposed, then we just return. We don't need to do any of these things. Okay, once again, because over here it will get called many times because it's the listener, and same over here, once you attach a function to listener, the system keeps calling this function again and again and again. Okay, and some of the times things may go wrong, so you can return early. If it has already been disposed, you don't need to go ahead and check other things, right? Okay, and speaking of this one, just now I said that because we attached a function to a listener, so it gets called many times, like in a second, maybe few times. Okay, or a lot more, say 100 times or 200 times. Okay, so because it's listening to the states. All right, but we don't want to call it so many times, so we can limit it. Okay, once you limit it, it's good for your video performance. Okay, so to do that, we'll declare a variable. Okay, all right, so here we'll do final now, and here we'll use the function in Flutter datetime dot now, this one, and it has another callback function which is called millisecond since epoch, this one, so it'll give you the current time in milliseconds, I guess. All right, okay, and at the same time we need to declare another variable, so let's go ahead and do it. We do update on update controller. So this is a variable, Okay, remember it's different from on controller update. So we can attach time. Maybe this would sound better. Okay, so what we'll do, so if, well, first let's see here on update controller time, we set it to 0. Okay, and now if on update controller time is greater than now, then we'll return. Okay, then we don't do anything. If it's not, then what we do, we add some times on it. So say now plus 500. So here 500 is more like adding 500 milliseconds to it. So all it does is that if you call it too quickly, but well, I mean this function, if it gets called too quickly but 500 milliseconds has not passed yet, then we return from here. Okay, so that's what it does. So using this 500 millisecond, a lot of time when it gets called too frequently, so it gets removed from here, because in earlier call there was added 500. Okay, so from then on, the now and this value difference definitely big, so which means that this is bigger than now. Okay, so we'll return. So this will make sure that the controller listener is not being called too quickly. All right, okay, so this is so much for this disposing and performance issue. So the next thing we want to do, we want to work on those buttons. All right, so we want to work on this button. So let's go ahead and find this button and we'll work on this. So because we want to click on this and go to the next video. All right, yeah, well, now to do that, we need to first when we initialize a video, we need to keep track of our index. Okay, so here we'll keep track of the index. All right, like let's see, we have an index here, right? So this index, we can save it. So we'll call it is playing index equal index. Okay, and now this is the playing index. We can initialize at the top over here. So we'll do int is playing index equal, say, -1. So the default value is -1. So let's come back to the bottom. So now over here we save it. Say for example this video is being played. Now once I click on this one, so first we have to know the index of this current video. So the index of the current video is saved over here within this. So we save it, and later on based on this we can do some calculation. So where we do the calculation, we do the calculation in our function buttons. Sorry, the buttons are, let's see where the buttons, yeah, over here. So this is the first button, which is this one. Okay, so over here we do some checking. All right, so first we save the index, final index equal, so is playing index. So whatever the index we're playing, we take that one and do -1 from it. For example, if you want to play on this one, you definitely, if you tap on this one, definitely you are going to play the earlier video, right? So earlier video, the index should be -1. Okay, so that's what we are taking, the current index here. Remember, we saved it this one, because we press on the button, now we do -1 from the earlier video, which is this one. Okay, so this should be the index of the video we are going to play now, which is the earlier video, right? Okay, but now there could be problems, okay, because earlier videos index could be minus, which we don't want. Okay, so we check if index greater than or equals 0, because the first video is always 0. Okay, like for this one, so if I'm playing this one, now I click on this, so index for this is 0, right? So that's what we check over here. And video info dot length is greater than or equals 0. So we have to meet the both conditions. All right, if it meets, then we go ahead and play the earlier video. Okay, so Now we'll call here the earlier video. How to call it? We can call it initialize video, this one, and we pass this index, okay? And that's how it should work. All right, so let's go ahead and restart our app and see if it's working or not. Okay, say for example I click on this one. Okay, it started to play. Right now I pause it, say for example. Okay, now what I do, I click on this one, so we should be able to see this video is playing. Okay, yeah,
I'm gonna have you go through a
started.
lateral squat walk, getting in a nice squatted position, all four corners of the foot on the ground.
Okay, now click it here one more time. So this is the video,
squat
right?
walk. Keep your chest up and your shoulders back.
Yeah,
Keep your back
so
straight.
it's working, right? But of course, if we click once again, then this method wouldn't work. In that case, we can use a message. Okay, so else we can send a message. So what's the message? Get dot snackbar, this one. Okay, so title video, and the message, no more video to play. All right, so for now we'll just design it like this. We'll change it later. Once again, this get.snackbar is coming from our Getx package. If you're just following along from this tutorial, the current tutorial, so make sure that you have this dependencies, which is called get. Okay, all right, so this is our snackbar. All right, okay, so we saved it over here. All right, now let's see if we click on this. Yeah, no more videos to play. So this is the message, but later on we'll style this snackbar. Okay, but you get the idea. Okay, yes. All right, now what we'll do, we'll work on this one. Okay, this one. So this button is over here. All right, so once we click on this one, the logic is opposite. So what will happen, once we click in this one, you have to get the index of this and do +1 with this current index. Only then you can go to the next video. Okay, so we would do final index equal is playing index. Okay, over here +1. Okay, and now we'll check it. If index greater than or equal video info dot length -1. Okay, so if video info is, say for example, if you have 3 videos, so the last index should be 2, right? Why? Because 0, 1, 2, there's 3 index, right? But now the length is 3, so that's why we have to do -1. That becomes 2. All right, so 2 is greater than or equal to this one. Okay, which is the last one, just for an example. Okay, now in this case we'll continue and we'll call initialize video, this one. Okay, and pass the index. Hopefully you understood. If not, we can also send another message. So get snackbar video list, no more videos in the list, no more videos in the list. Okay, all right, so let's play it, save it. Now we'll click on this. Immediately it will play the
I'm
next
gonna have you
video.
go through a lateral squat walk, getting
And
in a
then
nice
you
squatted
click
position.
once again. So I guess this is the last video, I'm not sure. Then click one more time. Oh, we have another video. Okay, all right, now let's click on this one. So you see no more videos in the list. All right, perfect. So come back to the earlier video or the earlier one.
I'm gonna have you go through a
Go back to the next one. So it means our program is working perfectly. That's wonderful, right? Yes. Okay, so next we'll work on first we'll work on this snackbar. We'll style it a little bit, and then we'll also work on the volume icon over here. All right. Okay, well, the first thing we want to do, we want to style this snackbar. Okay, because we can do much better job. So first we want to set the position. We'll do snack position. Okay, and snack position dot bottom, so we want it to show up from the bottom. And then we'll also use a custom icon color, right? So icons dot would do face, and then we'll also do say font size. We'll do size, say size 30, and it also takes color, so we do colors dot white. Okay, all right, perfect. So that's one of the thing. And then what else we can do? We can also set the background color. Okay, so for background color we would use our color palette, so which is app color and gradient second, but of course you can use any custom color over here as you want. It's up to you. All right, okay, so let's go ahead and save it and see the result. Okay, done. So these are the things that we have now, but definitely we need to color the text. Okay, so what you could do now, we can color the text. So color text, colors dot white. So actually these properties, color, text, background, icon, snack position, these are all coming from here. Okay, so you can play around with the properties as you want. Okay, and later on what you could do, we can also do the custom message text, which takes a widget. All right, if you really don't understand, you can hover over like this and you can come to the properties, like for example message text. For title text you can also do the same. Anyway, so now it takes a widget, so we are passing text widget. So we will move the message to this section over here. All right, yeah, but I guess we still need to pass an empty message text, otherwise it will show an error. Okay, anyway, okay, now this is a pretty simple text, so we can style it. So we would use text style to do that, and we would do font size, say 20, and then we would do color over here. So colors would use white for now. Okay, all right, now let's save it, hot reload, and now let's click on this one. Perfect, so it looks much better now. Okay, now this color, actually what we do, we'll just copy paste this one, this section, and put in our earlier message section. Okay, earlier message section is this one. Okay, all we need to do, we just need to change this one. So over here we'll say no more earlier videos, no videos ahead. Okay, no videos ahead. Yeah, like this. Okay, now we'll save it. So looks like I have an issue with hot reload. The issue could be, let's see if I'm doing something wrong over here. It looks like I'm not doing anything wrong. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, this one, sorry. Okay, so now let's save it. Okay, now what you could do, we can click one by one. We can go ahead. This is our first video. Now let's.
This is the squat walk.
Yeah.
Keep your chest up and your shoulders back.
All right. Okay. So that's it. Well, but now here actually you can also say you have finished watching all the videos. Congrats. Okay. So you have finished you finished watching all the videos. Congrats. Okay, I think this is much better. Let's save it. Now we'll directly click on the last one. I think our last video is this one. Okay, it's preparing, and now let's see this one over here. So beautiful. All right, so it's working. Okay, the next thing we want to do, we want to put a volume button over here so that the user can play around or mute the volume. Okay, so to do that we can use our row, the same row, and over here we want to put a child. Okay, yeah, so this over here we can put a child, and we'll wrap the child around a container. Okay, or inkwell, this widget. I think this is better. Okay, and over here we need to set up some of the properties. So it takes child. Okay, and I will use padding for this. Okay, and padding we want 12, and vertical we want 8. All right, yeah. Okay, now padding takes a child, so we'll supply child over here, and here we'll have a container. Okay, and within container we'll have this box decoration. Okay, all right, so we'll do decoration, box decoration. All right, and then we'll use the shape. So volume shape should be circular, right? So we'll use the shape property over here. So we'll do box shape dot circle. I think that's it. And then we'll do box shadow. Okay, now for box shadow we'll just use one box shadow, and let's do offset. So there isn't much shadow though, because the offset is 0. And then we'll do blur radius. Okay, so what would be our blur radius? Say 4.0. And we can do a color over here. Okay, box shadow takes color, and we'll do color dot from RGAB, so different kind of color together. 0, 0, and the earlier one 0. All right, you can use any color, it's up to you, it doesn't matter though. All right, now let's save it and see the result. And it looks like we have an issue over here. Okay, let's save it and see the result. Okay, so I also need to use an icon, right? Because this is a container, so here I should have a child. So where is our child? Okay, so for child we'll pass an icon over here. Okay, all right, and for now say icon is icons dot volume up. That's what we'll use, volume up, this one. Okay, and for now we'll also use color, colors dot white. Okay, that's what we want. Okay, so now let's save it, and here we go. So it has a bit of radius, blur radius, as you can see from here. But of course if you tap on this, nothing happens because there is no tap event yet. Okay, so now this is within inkwell. So what we did here, just we created within a padding a container, and container has a box decoration which is circle. We used a circle to give it this bit blur shadow, as you can see around it. So that's why we put it within a container in a circle of box decoration. And then we have this icon. All right, okay, so but of course inkwell, so which is this one, inkwell also has a tapping property. Okay, so on tap property we'll use. Okay, now here we need to play around with volume values. Okay, and how can we do that? Well, do remember, so we have a global container, so we can use that global controller. Sorry, we have a global controller and we can use that one. All right, so we'll use a variable, declare a variable, and we'll call it no mute. All right, and then we'll hop onto our tap into our controller, global controller. Remember, if the controller exists, then we'll get a value from it. Okay, and if the value exists, then we'll get volume from it. So these are the properties our video controller plugin has, so you can just go ahead and play with that. And if volume exists, okay, then we'll use the volume. If the volume doesn't exist, then we'll use 0. Okay, so volume could be turned off. When the volume turned off, the value is 0. If you don't turn it off, it's not 0. Okay, so what's happening here? First we check if the controller exists. Remember, controller could be disposed, so you check it first. If it exists, whether it has a current value or not, or it just paused, things like that. And then if it has value, then you check the volume property of it. Okay, and if the volume exists, which means the volume is, say for example, not 0 or 0. Okay, so in this case, if it is 0, then we'll use 0. Okay, if the volume has value greater than 0, then we'll use that value. So it depends on this one. Okay, so here we want to create a condition. Okay, so based on this condition, it will return either true or false, because this section is only either true or false. Okay, yeah, so that's what we are doing here. Perfect. So now we'll use this value no mute within our onTap function. Okay, so we'll check. So what happens if it returns here true, which means volume has value, that means it is playing loudly, right? Yeah. So if no mute is it true, which means it has volume, so we can change the volume to set volume. Okay, this property we'll set it to 0. Okay, yes, set volume. I think we need to add a null checker. Well, else what we do, we'll get it one more time and then we'll check, and then we do set volume equal 1. Okay, one second, what's happening here? So if volume has value, so this condition becomes true. It means that video is playing loudly. In this case, when you tap on this button, it will just shut it down. Okay, in opposite case, it will reset the volume to 1. All right, so that's what is happening here. And right after this, what we could do, we can gently create another method which would do set state. All right, so this will just simply make sure that re-render happens. Okay, of course you can put all of this inside set state function. It doesn't matter how you do that. Okay, now let's go ahead. Let's restart our app from the beginning. Let's play it.
This is the squat walk.
Now you see the volume has gone. Okay, now
Keep your butt
the volume
low.
is up, the volume is gone. All right, but now what do you need to do? We also need to change the icon based on this volume. Okay, currently we are not changing the icon, so we can change the icon. So where do we change the icon? We can change the icon, let's see, over here. Okay, so we can change the icon based on this value. It's no mute value. Okay, so based on that we can use it. So if no mute is it's true, if it's true, which means it's playing loudly, then we use volume. Let's see, if it's true, which means it's playing loudly, right? Then this is the condition. Otherwise, if it's false, then we'll use volume off. This one. Okay, now let's save it. Okay, perfect. You see it was mute, right? So let's go ahead and play second one.
I'm gonna have you go through a lateral squat walk.
So you see it's gone. Now it's
Foot on the
back.
ground, big step,
It's gone. Back.
close the gate. Big step,
Perfect.
opening
So
the gate,
everything is
and close the
working
gate.
so far perfectly as we wanted. Next we will work on the slider. Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. All right, here we are. So now we are going to implement our slider. Okay, well, before implementing slider, we can take care of some of the stuff that we did before. Like for example, say this height is too big, so we can change it to say 40. All right, yeah. And well, now it doesn't look that great, but what we could do, we can add a margin. Okay, yeah, so we do const edge insets, and we do bottom margin, say 10 pixels. Okay, yeah, or 5 pixels. Okay, perfect. And now we want to realize our slider on the top of this one. Okay, well, to do that, actually I have over here declared some variables and some math computation. So these are the parts, like for example, so I'm getting the duration. Okay, so it's the duration of the video, and then I'm also getting the position, like in where right now we are playing, I mean in terms of time where we are right now. Okay, because your video could be 1 minute long or long hours. Anyway, with this you can get the current position where it's playing now. Okay, and because do remember that earlier we added this in our listeners, so listeners will always be able to listen the current position and save it in this variable. Okay, and then I have the remaining time, like as a video is playing, so total duration minus this one. Okay, it's the current position where it's in terms of time. So we get the minus, and we do minus, and then we get the remaining part, of course, between 0 and whatever the number it is. Maximum should be whatever the number comes here, but not less than 0. And then we use this one, okay, to get the minute part, and this one is for get the second part. Well, now this one you could understand it like this. So we have a special operator. So this is this operator, right? And how it works, so it's more like, say for example, if you have 22 and then you want to divide it by, say, 7, and what do you expect? Okay, so in general you would expect, like for example with this, if you divide it like this, you would expect something like more than 3, right? Say more than 3, 1 point blah blah blah, like this, 3.1 blah blah blah, it goes like this. But once you have this tilde, it tells you just take the integer part, okay, not the remaining part, or not anything fraction. So once you do this one, you will get just integer, like in our case we'll get 3. So whatever it is we are getting from here, the time, okay, so because we need the minute can't be fraction, right? So that's why we want to get the integer part. All right, yeah. And of course, well, now another thing that you need to know, here we are getting them in seconds, right? Yeah, we are getting them all in seconds, okay. But once we divide it by 60, then we transfer it to minute. But because we are dividing by 60, so there could be a fractional part. So because of this operator, we can get rid of that fractional part. At the same time, the same value, we do this module operator, so that gets the remaining part, right? We already know that, like 22 by 7. If you do that, then your answer could be, in general, say your answer is 3.1 blah blah blah, right? But once you do this one, so you'll just get the remaining part. Okay, so remaining part is in our case 1, right? Yeah, so that's the minute and second thing. All right, so that's what I've done. And we also have used this function convert to, which is over here. And what it does is that basically whatever the value is here, and it checks if it's less than 10, and we put a 0 in front of it. Otherwise we use the value. For example, as you can see, like for first 1 minute, so well, its total length is this one, 1 minute 51 seconds long, right? But over here we just get the first value. Remember, with this we don't take after fraction, so we get 1. But now just showing here 1 is a bit odd, so that's why we convert it to, like over here, 0, 1. How to do that? We just check if the past value over here is less than 0, less than 10 or not. If it's less than 10, we just put 0 with the value. Otherwise we use the value whatever is given. All right, so that's what it does, this function. And at the same time, I have changed a bit of the, not really change code, I have over here. So if we come down to our controller update, we here have a variable which is progress. We need to use it later, so we declared it. And at the same time, I believe from here I've added this part of this code. Okay, yeah, so a bit of change. I'll give you the full view of this. So we check the duration, and if it's null, then we get the duration from our controller for a specific video controller. And at the same time we check it again, double check if there is a duration or not. Okay, otherwise we return, because that video cannot be initialized. Anyway, then we also get the position. Now the position is operator, this value, because once you play a video, this position always changing, so that's why you need to use await. So we wait when we can, then we get the value and we save it. Okay, so that's what we are doing. And over here we added, if a video is playing, then we want to know the progress, but in terms of 0 to 100. Okay, So now as you see here, earlier I said that we declared this progress variable over here at the top. Okay, now what we are doing over here, we are getting the position, and at the same time we are dividing it by duration. Okay, but of course we convert all of them in milliseconds and then to double. Okay, so why we are doing that? For example, if you say your video is say 60 seconds long, okay, now the position currently you're somewhere say 30. Okay, so once we do this thing like 30 by 60, so we'll get answer 0.5, right? So of course as it progresses, this value would get higher and higher, because the video as progresses, this value is getting bigger and bigger. Okay, so we'll, at the end, once the video is almost finished, this value would be close to 1. I think you get the idea. So for example, if we do 45, maybe here the value is close to 1, say for example 7 or 7.5, like that. Okay, so now the progress would always range between 0 to 0.9, that close, or 99, like that. Okay, or it could be even 1. Okay, so this is the range for progress, and we do that because we want to use it later when we slide things. Okay, this is the purpose. Otherwise we don't really need this thing. Okay, because of sliding purpose, whatever the time we have, the position and the duration, based on that one, we have a range from 0 to 1, like that, or from 0 to 0.99. So it gets us better values so that we can use it later. Okay, so these are the changes we have done. All right, and now let's go back to our slider section. Let's see. So at the same time, over here, let's see. We don't need this now. We can close it like this. Okay, and I've also added this section which you don't have yet. I have added it already. I'll explain it later what's happening. Okay, because with this section, actually I can explain now. But this one is actually showing the time over here, as you can see. Okay, so let me open it up. So once again, these are the values that we have at the top. Okay, like the values over here, mains and secs, which I already explained to you. Okay, so we decided to display it at the end over here. Now it looks much better, like we have total 5 items and everything is centered. Okay, so for example, as the video plays,
Do your right,
so this
then
time,
squat,
so let me
left.
mute it off. So this value decreases. Okay, so from the highest value to the lowest value. Okay, so that's what's happening using this. It's pretty simple, straightforward. Now I will close it, and the last part is the slider section. Okay, I already did the slider section, so I'll copy paste because it's a lot of code, and this video has been very long by this time, so I don't want to make it so much longer. All right, so this is the slider theme over here. Okay, let me open it up. So it's pretty long. Okay, now there's also the child. Okay, it's within one code. Of course we can just go with slider, not slider theme. Okay, now if you have slider theme, it gets you better control. For example, let me save the code. Okay, now here we are. Let's see. Okay, I think we don't need this one here. Actually, I'll just copy paste it, sorry, and we'll put it here because in a column I want the slider to be at the top. Okay, all right, sorry about that. Now let's save it. The error should be gone. Perfect. Okay, now it's looking much better, as you see. So our slider is already there, and this slider does a lot of things. I'll go through them very quickly. So this is the active track color, red color, like this section. Okay, this color, and inactive track color is over here, this red color. And the track shape, well, this is not that important, you can skip that. This is the shape of the track. And the track height, so it's the height. For example, you can change it to say 5. It'll look much thicker, but it looks ugly, so we'll do 2. and the thumb shape. So what is this thumb shape? This thumb shape is, for example, when you slide like this, you see something showed up at the top. So that's that top part is this thumb shape, okay? And thumb color, as you can see that we have this thumb color red and red accent, right? And overlay color, they're very different. Let me stop it. So parameters that you can play around, okay? It's pretty simple, but there are a lot of them that you need to set up for a beautiful slider. I really worked a long time on this because there's so many parameters and you don't know how to work with them. So a lot of them I actually found by myself. Anyway, later on, so because if you want to show this value on the top, this value indicator over here is pretty important, okay? This value indicator is showing the value at the top, all right? And text color is white, as you can see, all right? Anyway, we'll stop it. And now, of course, you can just simply use slider instead of using slider theme together, because right now slider theme is the parent and slider is this child. And now we are using that because we want to have a beautiful slider. Without this slider theme, you can't really style it so much, okay? For example, we can hop over to anywhere we want and see the time like that, okay?
And tightening your butt down,
okay?
Shift out.
Perfect. So that's what's happening because of this slider theme. Anyway, so now within slider itself, there are a lot of parameters that you need to set up. Like as I said earlier, that we have this progress. So progress is from 0 to 1. So we divide the slider, the whole slider, from 0 to 1, or in our case, we are magnifying it by multiplying by 100. Now it becomes from 0 to 100. Okay, and you also specifically mention it. And now because we are showing this value at the top,
you do your kickback,
that's why you also
down.
need the division. Okay, so they somehow work together. If you turn it off, it wouldn't work. Okay, now let's save the code and try to work with this. You see the value is gone. Okay?
Right glue.
So you need this. In general, this should be the same as this one. That's my understanding. And this is the time, the position where the slider is right now.
And as you
let me save the code. Okay, so
you can focus.
So this label is this one, actually the one showing the text at the top. Okay, yeah.
Focus on.
And the time is there, and we get the position. For example, say if you don't have this one. Just save it and let's try to view the time.
And you can.
It's too long, right? So it has, you can see it has seconds, milliseconds, microseconds, and there's a dot, okay? At the top there is a dot. So based on dot, we split it and we get the first section, okay? First section is our 0, 0, 0, and 5, 3.
And you can focus on one side first. You can target the.
Anyway, and then we have this on change. So whenever you click somewhere. Sorry, let me save the code once again.
So that wait.
So whenever you click somewhere, we get a value, and within using that value, we also, what do we do? Because remember, over here, this value is from now 0 to 100, right? Because we multiplied it by 100. But now here, once again, we change it to 0 to 1, okay? Yeah, so we get the more perfect value, okay? And later on we also have once we start dragging, okay,
and then
you see if you drag or if you drag
right,
like this,
so
the video stops. That's because of this one. And once the video dragging is end, this is what happens here, okay? So we get the duration, controller duration, total duration, and from there we do a bit of math, okay? And then we set it to the value where we want to go, okay? Like for example, once again, over here, the value, remember here we change it, this value, okay, from 0 to 100. So once again, we make it in terms of decimal, we calculate it, okay? And then we multiply it with this new value of duration, which is counted in milliseconds, and turn it to integer. And then we go to that certain part where we click,
right,
like this,
you do your kick.
using this seek to function. Okay, seek to function always takes, in general, it should take milliseconds. All right, and then you play it. Okay, yeah, so that's what's happening. But anyway, a lot of the math part might be confusing. I can explain more, but the video would be too long, so which I don't want. Anyway, so that's what, right now with this, our video player is a pretty much complete video
I'm gonna
player.
have you go through a
As
lateral
you can see, it's
squat
working
walk.
everywhere.
Opening the gate and
Okay,
with
the
all
time,
four corners of
the left,
This is
right
the
thing, this one. We are pretty happy with this video player, right? Now, a lot of you might be following it from the from this tutorial, but this is a previous section. Now I will connect our tutorial with the previous section. Okay, now let's go to our main file over here. Currently it's video info. What I would do homepage. Okay, our homepage, yeah, homepage. So we'll connect with homepage. Okay, yeah, now we'll restart our app. Okay, now we click on this. Okay, now click on this.
This is the squat walk.
Okay,
Keep it.
I'm gonna have you go through
Perfect.
a lateral squat
so
walk,
everything is
getting in
working
a
as we
nice
expected.
squatted position.
Okay, yeah, now of course we want to go back to the home page from here. So we need to come to our video info file, and over here let's collapse it. Video info file, over here we have this section, and do remember that over here we have this child column section, and over here I believe that this is the part that's that will take us to previous page. So over here, what we can do, we can just do get.back. This is once again Getx tutorial. I mean, we are using Getx. Check my Getx tutorial if you want to know more in the video description. So once we do this, it will take us to previous page. Okay, all right, so let's save it. Okay, now let's click on this. Yeah, it took us to previous place. Now let's go ahead, it's gone, and let's play it. Now let's click on this. Video is gone. Okay, it's not playing because we came back to our home page. That's because in video info over here at the top we have this dispose method. When you leave the page, these are all being called, so all the controllers are being disposed. Okay, so now we are done with this page and we are done with this app in this section. In next tutorial we'll see how to connect this app in the back end, and we'll upload these videos from the back end, okay, and play them. And we'll do that with Getx once again, okay, and using our REST API. So if you like the video, don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends. Thank you so much.